What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Unapologetic Male Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to talk about something that I've seen, which is kind of like a trending topic, and that is what is being called the male loneliness epidemic. I would say it's more of a isolation epidemic and a chosen one at that. I mean, obviously, I understand that a lot of men are incapable of swooning women and, getting women to be attracted to them, which is understandable. Um, because a lot of men choose to pursue women rather than being attractive themselves, right? If you choose to pursue a life of making yourself attractive, women will be attracted to you. But if you choose a life of being attracted to women, it works opposite like that, I promise you. But I'm going to talk about why this loneliness epidemic, or the isolation, as I like to call it, is a blessing in disguise and why you should utilize it. And something that I personally believe anyway is that you shouldn't really be pursuing relationships or dating until you're like almost 30, if that even. Um, and reason being is just due to the maturity level of people. Most women are going to start becoming a lot more mature in as they approach 30, because again they're going to start realizing that their standards need to be a little bit more realistic, because they're going to start becoming less attractive, which means they're not going to be able to attract as many potential mates. And so again, that's going to coincide with them not having as crazy ridiculous standards as they may have had when they were younger and they thought that they were going to get like a movie star like Leo DiCaprio or whoever. But one of the things that I've seen, which is concerning to me, and which is why I think it's a blessing that there's this kind of male loneliness epidemic going on, is um kind of this modern, out of control, modern feminist idea, which is not pushing for equality of men, but hatred of men. And it's a really strange thing to like hate the people that basically like created everything that you enjoy in life, right? Like, like a lot of women are in the medical field, right? Who build those hospitals? Men, right? Men build those hospitals. So it's kind of strange, like, men kind of keep society going, right? Like we repair everything, we build all the roads, we work on the cars, we for the most part do the trucking jobs that get the food to the grocery store so you can eat. And it's become this really weird thing, and I see a lot on like TikTok and X or Twitter. That's kind of a complex one, right? But where there's these echo chambers of women who are like basically just like, yeah, fuck men, yeah, we hate them. And a lot of them are younger, I would say. There's obviously like there's going to be those like, anomalies of like older women who have these beliefs. But it's a lot of immature young women, and what happens is they get their confidence up really high because they're young and hot. And so they know that men, especially when they're younger, and a lot of men just in general are just stupid. Like they're just fucking dumb. Like, all they think about is, I don't know, fucking sex. Like it's crazy. I don't know what's going on with a lot of men's minds. But you got to sharpen up, because women understand that. And so when they're hot and young, they know that they can manipulate and have more control over men. So this male loneliness epidemic is actually, in my opinion, is good for men, because you need to be able to utilize this loneliness. There's there's two types of people. There's going to be the one person, that man that becomes the incel, that doesn't work on himself, that loses hope in life and plays video games and lives at his mom's house. And then there's going to be the man that just becomes the alpha man, the man that has a good job, that has a career, that has a good house or a nice apartment, that has savings, that has a nice car, that can afford things. And that's really what you want to work on. And women, especially when they're younger, they're very they'll be a detriment, honestly, to your success. It's going to be very rare that you're going to find a young woman that's not going to waste her time, that's going to actually like come up with a plan. Because think about it, right? Here's just a simple concept, right? If think about divorce rates and why they're so high. A lot of the problems with society that we have stem from divorce, and stem from relationships and the mis upbringing of children. And so if women were really as smart as they claim they are, and you know, um, if women were really here to add value to you and weren't going to be a detriment to your success in the long term, then you would see like there would be no poverty, there would be no crime. And this is why, because this is how simple it is. This is how simple it is um to increase the quality of life for a child, and most people just choose not to. So let's say you have a kid that's born, right? So what you do is you and the child's mother agree to set aside money every month to build a trust fund for this kid, right? So imagine, right? Let's say you can put $500 aside and the woman can put $500 aside. Right, and that's a low end, right? Because as a man, eventually you got to be making at least 6 to 7 grand a month, dude. So if you're making 6 to 7 grand a month, hopefully your lady is as well. Hopefully she's a nurse, or she makes at least 4 grand, right? Like a thousand minimum. If you have a kid, you should be setting aside like $1,500 a month between the two of you. But again, so let's go back to the example. So $500 a month, right, times 12 is 6,000. Now let's add the other woman's half because she's adding 500 as well. That's $12,000 a year that you're setting aside for this child's trust, right? And if you put it into a good, mutual fund or some sort of bond or a good trust where it can get at least 5 to 6% interest a year. I won't do the compound interest on that, but let's use a simple term so it's easier for you to understand. So $12,000 a year. So this child can start utilizing the funds in this trust. And I'm going to explore this because I think it's a good idea to set a rule for the trust where all of the money can never be withdrawn, but only the interest can be used. And so like this trust, like permanently, half of the interest can be used for expenses, and then half of it must be reinvested into the trust in order to keep compounding and growing the amount of interest that the trust can accumulate every year. And so let's say $12,000 between you and your wife gets saved over the course of 18 years, right? So simple math off the top of my head, 20 years would be 240,000. So subtract 24,000 from that. So it's going to be 216,000. Yeah, $216,000 that you and your wife or your whoever would have saved up for a trust for this child. Now, if you have multiple children, that's something, right? Yeah. Maybe you have multiple children, that makes things a little bit more difficult. Hopefully you're not having more than like 3 or 4. I don't know how people have 3 or 4 kids. It's insane. But let's say you just have one kid, and if you have multiple, hopefully you're doubling that. So you have, you're doing 1,000 between you and your spouse. So you can turn that 216 into $432,000, and each kid can have $216,000 of a trust. So, and that's just saving. That's not with accounting for 5 to 6% of annual interest compounded yearly for 18 years, which is going to significantly make that even more. And maybe in a video, I'll actually demonstrate that for you. I like to do this podcast while I'm driving, so a lot of the time, it's just I'm riffing off the top of my head. I'm not. I can probably sit down and come up with a script and have some better demonstrations with graphs and things like that, which would be nice. And I'll do that for you. Actually, I will do that for one of the videos. But anyway, so 216,000. Let's say you're getting 5% interest year with this trust fund, right? So we do the math on that. That's at least $10,000, right? Because 5% of 100,000 would be 5,000, and then you multiply it by 2. So you're getting at least $10,000 a year of annual interest, that's a pretty substantial amount of money, right? So that could really, and just having that ability to have that money just could tremendously alter the impact of a child's life, like their long-term sustainability, their education, right? You could set rules in that trust where that money can only be used for education. But what you and your partner could do, the woman of this child, or sorry, the mother of this child, you guys could keep putting money in there. So by the time this child is 25, you just do the math. You just keep adding $12,000 a year to support the life that you brought into this world. So, but how many people do that? like less than 1%. I promise you, it's not. So it's so simple to do things like that theoretically, but in reality, right? If women were these like all encompassing, like universally intelligent beings, divorce rates would not be so high. You wouldn't see women would be these angelic spirits that men perceive them as being, that would lift them up out of poverty and then help create a better life for the children that they bring in this world. But, I don't know if you ever had a conversation with a young girl, but my God, some of them are it's just like, gosh, having a conversation with like a 20-year-old girl. I don't know. Women are kind of different where it's like, I feel like they always have to be speaking about something, like their mind has to be occupied for whatever reason. Um, and so that's why I'm saying that, like, this male loneliness epidemic is good for men, because what you need to be doing is you need to be studying and understanding the nature of women, right? Because most men, myself included, when you're younger, you're going to fall into this trap where you think the pretty girl's cute, you buy her stuff and you waste time. You waste time and money, you buy her things, clothes, shoes, whatever it is, concert tickets, drinks, food, and you get nothing in return. Like, this woman doesn't impact your life in a positive manner at all. It's just a learning lesson. That's all. And hopefully you do learn from that. But some men will just keep chasing that high because, maybe you're having sex with this woman. And so they'll keep chasing that high, that high of the feeling that your genitals get from sexual pleasure. And so, but really, if you really want to acquire high value women and you want to attract like hot women, you need to be hot and attractive yourself. So you need to get that idea of needing women and being constantly in a pursuit of women out of your mind. And what you need to do is just constantly pursue your own success and your own financial well-being and personal well-being, right? Because women are successful, and women make a lot of money now too. So that's one thing that is different from past times, is that women are capable of making just as much money and even more than men. But the difference is that men still have this kind of like providing instinct where we still want to be the breadwinner, where we want to go out and fight the bears, and we want to come back with the game, the big deer, and show it off. And so women know that. And so women have been kind of, a lot of these things are evolutionary and they're like kind of ingrained in us. So like biologically, we're programmed to do a lot of these things, which are actually are benefiting women more in the modern day. So women can make more money than you. And still, you're the one that's still buying all the food. You're the one that's, paying the majority of the rent. You're paying for her nails. And what's going to happen? Like, a lot of the times, like, you're just used and abused. Like, you let's say you go through a rough patch, women just move on. That's why divorces happen so often, right? Because for some reason, and again, we're going to get serious and we're going to talk like real talk with men. Women like just can't be happy for some reason. I don't know what it is. Like, and this is why I'm saying like this male loneliness epidemic is good for you, because I find that men oftentimes can have the ability to just work a job, be by themselves, and be content with existing. And that's what I think is really you should really start training your mind, is to just be content with being alive. Like, if you have a job and you can pay for an apartment, or you focus on finding a career, like you become an electrician, or you become some sort of high-skilled labor that pays you more than $60,000 a year. Hopefully you're making, 60, and you start making more, because that sweet spot for financial freedom in modern day America is about $80,000, I believe, because your expenses, you could probably live off about 35 or 40 a year, and then you can save the rest. So, if you can start saving 30 grand a year by making 80K, just do the math. In 10 years, you have, let's say you're 25, in 10 years, you're 35 with 300 grand. And that's if you don't invest your money into like a mutual fund or anything like that. So a 35-year-old man with 300 grand is like a woman's dream, because most women are not going to get that. Most people are not going to get that. And so at 35, like a 35-year-old woman would, and I've seen it before, like if you show a girl a lot of money and she's like desperate, like the pennies just come off. It happens. Now, not all the time, and I'm saying it's good, but like if you get with like a woman who is just like miserable, who's tired, who doesn't like to work because women aren't really built for like working hard all the time. Like, because like traditional women, like tr- in like 50 years ago, like women really didn't work. Um, like they just chilled at the house, the man worked, and that was it. And so that's a cool life, and women enjoy doing that. So, the modern day women, a lot of them are working more, and that's what a lot of women end up doing once they start kind of aging, is they start realizing, oh, maybe I should find a man to manipulate so he can take care of me and pay all the bills, and I can just kind of chill and have a kid or two. Um, and so with that being said, like, that's why when you hit that age of like 30, if you follow that game plan, you start making 80 grand a year and you get to 35, you have $300,000. These women are going to start trying to get pregnant. And they're going to be like, oh my God, like this guy has it going. Like, I can probably live at his house. He can get me pregnant and I can just watch cartoons with the baby all day while he goes to work or whatever. So, but that's why this you need to take advantage of what I believe is this kind of toxic feminist ideology, which is kind of being thrown around, which has created this male loneliness epidemic. You need to take advantage of that, and you need to start understanding that as a man, you need to. It sounds misogynistic, I guess is the word, but you need to put women in their place, and women are powerful and smart, and so that's cool. They can put you in your place too. But you need to, and when I'm saying when you need to put women in their place, you need to, when you interact with a woman, she needs to understand that like nothing she says or does is going to alter like your path, right? Nothing that she does, it's not going to impact you emotionally. You're going to keep rising up. Like, you need to set the standard that when women talk to you, they know that if they don't somehow find a way to bag you, to swoon you, to create a relationship with you, like, they're worse off. They're better off by trying to appease you. And it sounds kind of mean, and it feels weird when you first start doing it. If you're a nice person, you're like, oh, I should treat women nicely. No, you should not. And you shouldn't be disrespectful to women, but you should be stern with them. You should not be like, let them walk all over you. And you shouldn't be this like nice guy, yes man. No, like, you should be not hostile, but very straight up. This is a stop sign, dude. Very straight up with women. um like, they need to know, like, oh wow, this guy is in control of what he wants, because they love that. I promise you, when they talk to you and you're just like, you're not like immediately captivated by them, and you're not motivated by like the impulse to just have sex with them like irrationally. um they love that. And so they're gonna see this guy and be like, oh man, this guy is in control of his impulses. Like, there's something, if he's in control of his impulses, because a man who's in control of his impulses is incredibly powerful. So, because again, if you're in control of your impulses, you can devote all that energy that you were wasting towards pursuing irrational impulses into pursuing things that are going to elevate you in life. And so you need to, like, when you interact with women, let them know straight up, like, have that energy, like, hey, look, like, I am who I am. And like, they can say these cute things. Like, women sometimes they'll like to like say these little insults, and you just show them straight up, like, I don't care. I don't care like who you are. Like, you know, I could never speak to you again tomorrow, and life would be fine. And I'll be great, and I'll be happy. And because for some reason they love that. They love a man that they could never, like, you could never see him again and not miss a step, not miss a beat with your life. Women love that, because and again, that's going back to a man who does that is more than likely in control of his life and has a greater ability to provide a stable environment for that woman to produce offspring. So that's something that they love, because if you're focused and you can not let anything sway you or deter you or alter your vision in life, like, women they love that. Not all, but again, let's go back to stats, right? So 50% of Americans make like less than $45,000 a year. 50%. That includes women too, right? So a lot of women are at these dead end jobs, just as you are, just as men are. And yeah, a lot of them would much rather be at home watching Netflix while some guy that makes $90,000 a year, um, busts his butt and goes to work and gets all the money and puts the roof above the head and puts the food on the table, right? And a lot of girls that make $50,000 are hot. There's some hot, and hey, if you make the money and she can stay at home or whatever, she can work out, she can make herself look nicer. And so there's a lot of women, I promise you, millions that would rather not work 40 to 50 hours a week to make $45,000 a year. That would, and so that's what I'm getting at. When you elevate yourself up into that higher position, like you're gonna immediately make yourself more attractive to like millions and millions of women. So with that being said, like this male loneliness epidemic, it goes back to this whole ideology where, um, and kind of touching back on this toxic feminist ideology, you need to understand that with women making more money than they, being able to make as much money or more money than men, you need to kind of watch some of these trends, because what you'll see is a lot of it is like sociopathic towards men, like, and women know that, and they'll use men, and you need to understand that. That's why, like, once a woman understands that she can't like just use you, like it makes them go crazy, because that's their main power, right? Like their main power is getting guys to buy them drinks at the bar, buy them food, take them on dates, buy them clothes, pay for their nails. And so, if you're a simp and you like doing that, like that's cool, but that's not conducive to like to elevating in life, right? Like, so understand, like, some of these women are just hostile and they don't care about you, but they'll pretend to. And so that you need to be weary of that. And so if you just focus on just making as much money, I promise you, like, you'll be able to, you'll find nice girls, and you'll find girls that you can bang and have sex with, right? But it's just better to have your guard up. And I hate saying that, like you have to be on point and on defensive all the time, but you really do need to, right? It's like we live in the real world, right? And I know that many men, and I think this is where it stems from. I think many men have a false romantic view of women because of maybe you have your mother's love, and your mother loved you and took care of you when you're growing up and tried to provide for you. But that's not, women don't have that same approach for you. So, you need to get that whole, oh, women are like caretakers and they're nurturers out of your mind, because like women are the more frail species, and they know that. And so nature has designed them to be more manipulative, and has designed them to like think more about how they can take advantage of you, the man, right? And so for one, if you don't make the money, it doesn't even matter. Like women aren't even going to try to, so you want to be the man that women try to take advantage of. And so how do you do that? Is by ignoring them, isolating yourself, and thinking and focusing only about money, making money, getting more financial stability, right? And think about that all day, all the time, right? And avoid women. I think you should. I think you should avoid women unless you find like a nice girl that's sweet and is not like hostile. But a lot of these modern women, I see no appeal in trying to find these modern women. It's like because the internet has created this like this sort of mentality. From what I've seen, it's like this group thought that like they think that like their shit don't stink. It's crazy to me. It's like, yeah, and that's what happens is they end up kind of training each other, and they kind of get in these echo chambers because your algorithm doesn't show you these videos that these women are seeing, where they're just talking with each other like, yeah, how do we take advantage of men? How do you get men to pay for this? How this and that. And so, yeah, and to kind of wrap it up, this male loneliness epidemic, I don't think there's a problem with it at all. I don't even think you should be trying to seriously get like a date or get a girlfriend until you're like almost 30, dude. Like if you don't have $50,000 saved up, you don't need to be trying to get with a woman at all, And I think if you, there's still good women out there, undoubtedly. And I think the older a woman gets, the more likely it is that she'll be loyal and good, unfortunately. Um, but again, that just goes back to nature. Unfortunately, I have the personal opinion. I'm a bit nihilistic, but and pessimistic, but still optimistic. I'm pessimistic of human nature and optimistic of what I can do, as far as accomplishing things in this world. So, we live in reality, man. We're in a real world. We don't live in a fantasy land. There's bears, there's tigers, there's sharks in the water. Like when you go in the ocean, you think about sharks. You don't want to get bit. It's the same when you do with women. You got to kind of perceive it as like, oh man, I'm in the ocean with sharks, right? I'm in the wood and I'm in the woods and there might be wolves. It's the same thing, right? Women can be predatory. Women can be financial predators. They can see a man with a lot of money and they can think, oh yeah, well, how can I get money from him? Well, I can get him to marry me. I can get him to sign a contract and then I can eventually divorce him and take half of all his money. It happens and that's how it works. So, hopefully you got something from this. I'm gonna kind of come up with some cooler themes and some graphs and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm just starting, but always if you have something on discussion that you want to share with me, or anything that we can discuss, leave it in the comments. I would love to discuss these things. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just another day. Just keep working and getting at it. Don't get discouraged. If you're a young man and you're hearing this, hopefully I can find some young men and help lift them up and help them reach that altered, um elevated mindset that we need to get to, because you know as men we need to a lot of times, again, like I was speaking about divorce rates and things like that. A lot of times men don't have good father figures. They don't even have good mother figures. They don't have people that are teaching them, right? It's not like there's not an intellectual or intelligence requirement to have a child. You just simply have to have sex. That's all it is. So the barrier to entry for creating a child is there is no barrier of entry. It's just randomized. So yeah, some people are going to draw the short end of the stick, and they're not going to have wise advisors. So hopefully we can kind of all. I might build a Discord or something like that. We can chat in that. But I would love to just connect with you guys. Anyone who's interested in this. We just talk about self-improvement, man. That's all it's about. Because every day just getting better, just building, just being positive, getting money, and then maybe we can have the women attracted to us or something. Who cares, right? For me, I would just rather have $500,000 saved than a girlfriend, or a wife or whatever. I just think that financial comfort and financial freedom is really going to be the ultimate key that's going to unlock many things for you in life, and is going to make you much more satisfied if you choose the path of pursuing financial success versus successful relationships. You get what I'm saying? So, but anyway, yeah, this is the Unapologetic Male Podcast. Thanks for anyone who tuned in, and have a great day, and go get it, man. Go get it after it. Go find that job that you need. Go develop those skills. Go do some research. Go study.